Hey everybody, it's Eugene, Driscoll, and Jodie, Mozdzer, the Valley Independent Sentinel. It's Friday. It's about 3:20 as we record this. I'm getting ready to do something in Derby at 4 o'clock. But we're going to talk about last night's debate. We held a First Selectman debate. I moderated. Jodie was the timekeeper. First time we ever did anything like that. I walked out at the end on a high. I just had a great time.
It was fun.
Doing it, yeah. It was. What were your impressions of it?
I think I left there feeling relieved because nothing terrible happened. You know, there was no microphone malfunction or wardrobe malfunction or, no camera fell down.
Yeah.
No one, got a bat out and started beating up the competition.
Yeah, and the candidates were...
they were great.
Completely easy to work with. They seemed prepared. Mm-hmm. I mean, we were remarking that the biggest surprise for us was that they didn't go over their time. They actually were so concise they went under. They had, a lot of times they had extra.
In some cases, they had 2 minutes to say, and they said it in 1 minute.
In 1 minute, yeah. That was kind of cool, and that would make problems for us because as we're giving the questions, I had to make sure you had reset the clock and
yeah,
blah,
and I was
blah,
waiting just to make sure. Are they done talking? I don't want to hit stop and then mess up the time. So it was good. I mean.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, the feedback we got immediately after the debate was all positive. And I don't know if that's people just, at the end of it just are going to give you positive feedback. I talked to one person today who said, the format wasn't perfect, and which we totally acknowledge. We didn't look up a format to use. It was this Frankenstein experimental Valley Indy format that I don't know. We just tried it out. It was definitely not a traditional debate format. So I thought that was really cool. At the very beginning, and I haven't been. We posted Frank Loda's video of it. I don't know where it is, but I blanked out at the beginning. And what happened was I had written out the entire script. I mean, word for word, everything I would say down to the go-aheads. And it was an 8-page script. And so at some point in the debate, I was looking up, and I flipped over a page, and I looked down. Everything on the page looked like what I had just read on the preceding page. So I just thought, wait a second. I thought maybe when I printed it out, somehow I had copied and pasted the second question 8 times. And so what happens is in the middle of everybody, I'm like, what's going on here? Wait, I already read this.
But you didn't say anything. You just stopped talking.
I just stopped talking. Yeah, because what am I going to say? Because the only thing that comes to mind are curses. And I'm sitting next to high school students.
Yeah.
I don't want to start.
So then,
cursing.
I hand you my page, and you just look at that, and it's the same thing
right.
you needed.
And what I needed was someone to point and say, "Read there," and nobody was talking, and then it was Reba Patori. Of course, now I mess up her last name. She totally bailed me out and just pointed here, just whispered something, and that was the only thing. And we thought immediately after the debate, you told me it went on for a minute.
It was not a minute.
I heard from somebody it was about 15 seconds.
It felt okay.
It felt like a lifetime.
But my fear was I couldn't stop looking at the watch for whatever reason. I was afraid if I stopped looking at it, I wouldn't know how to time the next question.
It was definitely
It was so scary.
We were entered an alternate universe for a couple of minutes there. It was some portal of hell for a couple of minutes, but. It wasn't a couple of minutes. It was 15 seconds. But other than that, it was fine. And then once that happened, it was okay, that happened. But I don't know. It was great. The follow-up questions, going in there, I'll be perfectly honest, I didn't think I would ask one follow-up question.
I thought it'd be fine.
I thought once we the candidates had their say, I don't cover Seymour. I'm not if it was Derby, I pretty much know every topic in Derby, and I could anticipate what would be said. But I don't know. It just walked out. I did have follow-up questions the whole way through, which surprised myself. And the candidates were great, so it got some more back and forth. I thought the lightning round was great because you really got the candidates. The other things that I think I messed up, aside from blanking out, there was one point. The candidates had given us their questions in advance, and we reviewed them to make sure that they were appropriate, so nobody would throw any kind of under-the-belt shot at someone in the middle of the debate. So two candidates. I had Gene Loda's question in front of me, and I do this. I do this every time we have a podcast. You have what you want to say,
and then you just start saying.
But you're talking off the top of your head,
Yeah.
and so I thought Gene was not getting to her question, so I sort of interrupted and said, and I wanted to make sure what was coming out was the question. Yeah. So I don't think I had to interrupt her there, but I did and asked her to ask her question. And then with Kurt Miller, I think I made the opposite mistake. What happened was he started to ask his question. I was looking for his question to make sure what he was asking was what he had said he would ask. And in the time it took to do that with my paper, he was also talking off the top of his head. And I should have said, all right, get to your question.
Yeah.
But I didn't, and so I think that left. I should have done that. That was against Paul Roy, actually. But those are two things in retrospect. I heard one person say that I probably shouldn't have asked Gene Loda who she would have voted for had she not ran. But those questions were just. The follow-up questions that I had were they were not prepared. I didn't have them written down. It was just what was triggered by what the candidates said. Mm-hmm. And so
one of the other
that's the nature of a debate.
I mean, we noticed one of the other weird, it wasn't a mess up, but like we would do it differently next time, is we had them all sitting on the stage while we sort of prepared and got ready to start. Which, in retrospect, was like
it probably built up a lot of nerves.
Terrible, yeah. Like they're just sitting there looking at everyone. Everyone's looking at them. The lights are shining on them. Like we should have introduced them and had them walk.
Right,
in.
And that's where we're like we're reporters. We don't really know the kind of the production part of something.
Yeah.
And I can see like, oh, that's why you want to have them come out and do an introduction.
Right.
Yeah, I would definitely do that because it was 5 minutes of them just.
Sitting there, like, waiting.
And at one point I just kind of looked up at them and I said, "You're doing a great job." So, yeah, apologize for that. That wasn't perfect either. Also, like, I felt like sometimes if there was one point in there where there was almost a conversation starting between Roy and Loda. I don't remember exactly what the topic was. But the way the format was, I had to do a follow-up question. So I interrupted Gene Loda again, and I think this happened with Paul Roy too. And what I wanted to do was basically say, all right, answer his question. But I tried to rephrase Roy's question, or Roy's statement that she was already trying to respond to. What I should have just said is, go ahead.
Yeah, that's my follow-up.
But I interrupted to make sure we would have the time, because if the candidates start talking before we've set the time,
True.
So, but I think what happened there, because I saw one, I think it was Loda or Mrs. Loda, kind of answered my question. She had already started to talk, and instead of continuing that thought, I think she felt obligated.
Threw her off a little.
I think she felt obligated to answer exactly my. But then again, I mean, political candidates, they know how to answer their question as opposed to
phrase it in a way that's sort of
right. As opposed
to
right,
you asked.
Yeah, they're kind of pros at that. But I mean that being said, it was awesome to see 3 candidates up there. They're not professional politicians in any way, and it was just so awesome to have them willing to do that, because that takes real guts.
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, and I think like we got to a lot of different issues, and I think that they were all very honest in their answers. Like, especially in the lightning round where they were questioning each other, like they were asking some, I wouldn't say like terribly difficult questions, but they were asking some pointed questions about
from people in the know. Like they know what they're doing.
And they all gave very honest, candid answers, I thought.
Yeah, I thought everybody performed well. I mean, if I was sitting there in the audience, I was impressed by that. It's not like anybody had an implosion. So we're coming up at the 9-minute mark.
One other thing I would have done
go
different,
ahead.
I would have taken those
oh no.
tablecloths and ironed them.
Yeah, you were freaking out.
I was freaking out. I mean, there was little wrinkles in the tablecloths, and I'm like, can we iron those? I
had just bought them at Target and threw them up there, 10 minutes before. It was me and Reba. We were like, oh, these are extra long. One thing that's a credit to Seymour is now we've been here for 2 years, and Seymour is like the town I'm least familiar with, but its reputation for community service and civic involvement precedes it. You hear that about that town.
And they showed that last night.
And it was totally, 131 people showed up for a little debate put on, that we helped to put on. So that was really cool. Thank you.
Bye.